Yes, our continuous coverage here on the rollout of the goods and services tax is on, and joining us today is the Minister of State for Civil Aviation, Jayant Sinha. Mr. Sinha, I appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. You did work on the GST in your previous avatar as Minister of State for Finance as well, so this is a particularly proud moment for you as well, Mr. Sinha. Let me start by asking you about the implications and the impact on the aviation sector. There have been several representations made to the government specifically on aviation, saying that by July 1, the back end will probably not be ready. Have those concerns been allayed? Are we good to go now for July 1?
Good afternoon, Shireen. Indeed, it is a proud and a very important moment for all of us that have worked hard on GST and, of course, for India as well, which we will be celebrating at midnight today. As far as the aviation sector is concerned, we've had a series of meetings with all of the stakeholders regarding implementation issues related to GST, and by and large I think they have been resolved. We have a series of system issues that we had to take care of regarding the definition of stopover and continuous journey. As I said, we think that by and large those have been resolved. We also have a number of rate-related issues or policy-related issues which are not necessarily implementation-oriented, but do pertain to exactly how rates will be applied. And there we are looking at things like the movement of stock, like spare parts and so on across the country. We are looking at input tax credit for import leases and so on. So there are a number of things that we have to work through still so that we understand exactly how tax is going to be applied in the GST framework for these expenses.
Given the fact that some of these issues continue to be unaddressed, what will the impact be specifically on aviation companies? A lot of them are listed in the markets as well, and hence investors are seeking answers to those questions. What do you believe will the immediate term or the short-term impact be if these issues like the leasing, etc., remains unaddressed?
Those, I think, will be sorted out. The good news about the whole GST process is that it is a dynamic process and it's a very responsive process. We have sector councils that have been established. There are 17 sector councils and each of these sector councils is taking on board all of these issues and trying to resolve them as quickly as possible. There is, in fact, a GST council meeting tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. I'm told, that will take on board some of these important changes that have been proposed and work to try and resolve them this evening itself. So I think, you know, the net result of all of that come July 1 is going to be some very marginal adjustments that will have to be made as far as the aviation sector is concerned, and things should settle down relatively quickly. What's
the feedback that you get from aviation companies, sir, when you talk to them about what could happen to fares starting the 1st of July? There are differential rates for economy tickets, differential rates for business class tickets as far as the services rate is concerned. What is the sense and the feedback that you get in terms of what could happen to fares come July 1st?
We believe fares will generally be stable. Of course, as you know, we've gone from 6% for economy to 5%. So there's been a reduction in tax rates. And for economy, we've gone from for business, we've gone from 9 to 12%. So there's been an increase in tax rates there. There is still some discussion going on about certain input tax credits that we want. So let's see how all of those play out. But net, as I said, I think there will be some marginal changes to fares, but none of this is going to be very dramatic, and it should settle down very quickly.
One big concern that industry
should settle down pretty quickly. That's the word from the MOS for Civil Aviation. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have the BTST calls. Also, we'll get the mood check from leading rooms.